Hello, this is Cheryl, Creative Wreaths and Flowers. I'm just going to wait a few moments, try to get this up on my iPad so maybe I can see the comments, and wait for a few people to come in. Tonight we will be doing a small orange petal wreath. I promised this long ago before my surgery, and now I have time to do it. It's been a while since we've had a live, so hopefully you all can catch me. I don't know if this is a good time for people or not, but okay. There we go. Hi, everybody. I forgot. Hi, Lori. How are you doing? Looking forward to that free vacation in Chicago? Hi, Patty Beck. Oh, or Patty Ann, as I should say. Look, I cut all my hair off, and I get chicken dew right here. I think of you every time. I really, really do. I'm glad to be back. It's been a long week. I had to think, what day is this? Oh, yeah, Sunday. So, yeah, it's been a long week. I should look at the camera, not at me. Still haven't got that figured out, especially when I have a picture of me right here on my iPad and right here on the laptop. I do. You know how you say you had the chicken dew? But yours was like always up here? My chicken dew is always right here. I'll get up, and I even think I said that when I was in the hospital. Oh, look, I've got Patty's chicken dew going on. So I thought of you. But it's really good to be back. I feel really good. My only pain is down in my groin where they did the incision twice. So it's a little extra sore. That was quite the fun in the experience. I really don't want to see the bill at all because they brought me up from surgery and it seemed to me like it took forever, but I'm sure it wasn't very long. And then I went back down into emergency surgery. So yeah, it wasn't fun. When I got back down the second time, I remember just looking at him and saying, "Put me out, I can't take it," because the pain was so bad. They had cut all the blood flow off to my right leg. So we were just, like I said, for however long they had me upstairs, because I don't remember going back up until I got to the room. And my leg just kept raising straight up. I couldn't control it. And I knew she hit it. And I said, "I can't feel my foot." And then we just kind of like sat there. Why, thank you. Hi, Olive. I just kind of laid there and watched my foot turn black. I was like, this isn't right. Then I cried. Then Mike cried because I cried. And then they took me away. But once they fixed it, I was okay. A little strung out for a long time. my choices of pain medication where I got a Percocet every 6 hours, which is nothing new in my world because I normally take them every 4 for just pain. And then on top of that, if I so desired, every 2 hours I could have morphine. Not through a pump, but by, well, I had the PIC line thing in. But after about 3 shots of morphine, I decided I really didn't like it. It was making me feel sicker than it did made me better. Thank you, Rosemary. How are you today? Glad to see you all here. I thought we'd wait just a few moments and then we'd get started. I haven't talked to outside of here human life for a while, so I'll probably be real talkative today. I'm talkative anyway. Let me move my mouse. That's not something you need for today. I need it when I go to play with my computer. It actually started working right before I had surgery, so I was like all excited about that. For a whole week, it didn't want to do anything. And then all of a sudden, poof, it was fine. I don't know what he did, because Sean was out of town, actually. When I had the heart cath, Sean was in California, and then when I had my surgery, he was out in one of the Carolina places working. So that's the first time we've ever done anything in a hospital without him around. So that was kind of a new experience. Kind of like when you're a teenager and you go out for your first apartment. Mike and I going out for our first. What are you making for dinner, Patty? I'm sorry. Because I'm hungry. And I hear the roads are fine, so I could get there. I don't know. They may be making dinner upstairs. No telling what I'll get. Macaroni and cheese with pureed sweet potatoes. Melinda purees everything because Ryder won't eat it, and then she mixes it in. Like, she brought me a brownie the other day, and then I had to yell at her because she said, try this, because I don't eat vegetables. Oh, yuck. I don't like potato soup. Never mind. Because I don't eat vegetables. I eat potatoes, but anyway, she got some cookbook, and so she purees all this stuff up, and then she sneaks it in the food. I guess that's supposed to be healthier for you. And she brought me a brownie, and it was really good, but it was kind of not fluffy. I don't know. Do you call it flat? It wasn't. I mean, it looked like a brownie, but it tasted like heavy. I don't know if that makes sense. And she goes, and I ate almost all of it. And she goes, do you like that? And I go, yeah, it's pretty good. She goes, I put black beans in it. I go, well, no, it doesn't taste as good as it did. But actually, it didn't change the taste of the brownie at all. But I know she's pureed up a lot of sweet potatoes. I don't know what else. And she slips that in to different things. So Ryder's getting his vegetables. He just doesn't know it. I think she even made a grilled cheese with sweet potatoes in it. Don't ask me. I figure I don't cook anyway. I don't need to learn that. But anyway, we'll go on and start this. As I promised before, we got down to the last couple of weeks and I was kind of freaking out and stuff. I've always made the petal flowers, but they've always been huge, like Big Flower, the one I have hanging outside now, which is still surviving. Thank you. I'll take a picture of. I have to go out tomorrow because I have a doctor's appointment on Monday. I have a doctor's appointment on Tuesday, and I have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday. They tell you to stay home and rest, but then you have to go out every day to see them. I don't get it. So anyway, when I go out, if it's not raining or anything, which hopefully it'll get warm again, I'll take a picture of it to show you guys how it's keeping up. I notice it's kind of poofing out, which I like them flat. I don't know if anybody else does, but I like my flowers flat, and I'm forever trying to figure out how to make them flat. You'll see me if you've ever seen me make the big ones, you'll see me with books and rocks and you name it. And I'm holding those things down for dear life. Now, that doesn't work when you're using like the Hobby Lobby mesh, some of the Joann's mesh. But I've noticed when you use like craft outlet mesh, not so much Paper Mart mesh. I'm not really into their mesh. I mean, if you can't find it anywhere else, it's okay. But it's hard for me on their website because, one, I have a color issue. And so they don't tell you the colors. And you have to try to figure out which number you need, and I don't know. I don't like their website. So I've been getting most of my supplies from Craft Outlet or the Wreath Shop. I just ordered something from Factory Direct Craft. It was just one item. I really didn't see anything there I cared for. Oh, and Sims Pottery. I've got some ordered. I ordered some stuff from Sims Pottery. So I'm kind of starting to make my nest of where I like to shop. My most exciting thing is when we go down to Kansas City, hopefully, in May, when I take down the grave topper for my parents and visit my aunt in Independence, which is maybe 45 minutes at the most because the mall was down there. We used to go all the time. And down the street, if you go on I-70, I'm not real sure exactly how to get there, but I figure ways. I use WAZE on my phone and it tells me everything. We have a Garmin, because Mike's dad convinced him to buy a Garmin, but I don't like it. Can't run it very well. But Waze is real time, and it's through Google, and it's really good. So, but I know if we go by Kauffman Stadium down I-70, we can get to Nolan Road. And once I get to Nolan Road, I have to find Highway 40, and then they have an old-time pottery. And I've heard that's like the Disneyland for craft makers. I'm not real sure. I've kind of gone in and kind of looked, and a lady out in California went to one and like filmed her experience while in there. That's how I got the Disney feeling. So I'm hoping to be able to stop by there on that weekend, although depending on what day we go, we usually go down and come back the same day. It's about a 3.5 hour drive. Might have to spend the night in Independence and go the next day, but if we, and Sean was going to ride down with us because I'm going to torture him. He would not go while he was out in either North or South Carolina and find an AC Moore, which is only out in that area. And they have the pretty pink splattered mesh that I want. And you can only get it in store, but he wouldn't go. Of course, there probably wasn't one close to him, but I didn't care on the weekend if he had to travel a long ways to get it. But he didn't. He brought me back in North Carolina. And he must have been in North Carolina because I got North Carolina magnets. Or maybe I got a North and South. I got 2 magnets. I collect magnets. But anyway, he wouldn't go there, so he's going to have to suffer and go to Old Time Pottery with me. It's just the way it is. If you're going to go to Kansas City, you might as well hit one of the greatest craft places in the world, right? Because Lord knows there's not another one very close. I've looked for all of the warehouse type places where you can go and buy, and that is the only one I have found anywhere within a time span I can travel to. Anyway, back to our wreath. What I'm using today is I'm using this plastic wreath form. This actually came from the Dollar Tree, and when I bought it, it had gold garland on it. And I saw on YouTube that you could use these, take the garland off and use them. And the thing was, at that time, I was just starting. I started in October, so I was just starting, and I was making a lot of wreaths. I made 35 wreaths between the time I started and Christmas. So I was really into it, and I love the Christmas. They have so many good picks and decor, and you can go all the way from the real religious to all the way to the real cute and whimsical. And Michael likes cardinals, and they do a lot of cardinals, and it's a lot of sparkle. So I got really into it, and probably everybody I know pretty much got one, because I gave away 30 or 26 of them, hung on my walls for a while. I have since stored some of them because I keep making more wreaths, and I have nowhere to hang them. And I hate to put them in boxes. And we don't have anything like an extra closet. Sean has a whole bedroom at his house, but he says I can't use it. He's kind of mean. Anyway, I bought a bunch of these garland wreaths because at that time I couldn't find wreath forms without going to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or what. And these were $1 compared to theirs, which really aren't bad at $2.99 or $3.99. And they're small, and I was experimenting. I was making ribbon wreaths. I was making all kinds of different wreaths. So the cheaper it was for me then, the better it was. I don't know if I would use these now. I have a good supply of rings now. One of Melinda's little friends had a bunch of stuff that she sold me, and I have 18-inch rings, and I'm now starting to incorporate those to make them so that they'll make a decent-sized one for your front door and not too large, because I normally use a 14-inch. And I've learned that you can go to DollarTree.com and order them, but you have to order them. The 14-inch ones, I'm not sure. I ordered them by the case. I know they have some of the breast awareness ones now, and you do have to order those by the case. There's 24 of them in a case. So I haven't done that yet. I'm thinking when I feel better, I'm going to go over to Lake Manawa, and they have a great big Dollar Tree store over there right next to the Hobby Lobby. That's the crafter's, dream. And I'm going to look and see what they have. They also haven't brought out their Americana line. They don't call it their 4th of July line, I was told, because I did go Monday. And right in the middle of shopping, I had to stop. I got overly exhausted. And then I remembered a story that Patty Ann told me, that after she had her gallbladder out, she was feeling real good, and she went with Ron to Menards. And right in the middle of shopping at Menards, she didn't feel so good anymore, and she had to go home. So I said, oh, yeah, okay. I should have remembered that before I went, but I didn't. But I needed flowers, and I wanted to see what spring flowers, or if they'd gotten their spring line out yet. And I'm still waiting to find blue carnations, because I like to decorate in the summer with the red, white, and blue carnations in the flower boxes. But anyway, so today we're going to use, this is about an 11-inch ring. So you could use a 10 or a 12 for this particular flower. I've never made one this small, so we'll see how it turns out. But this is what I'm going to use. And then for the middle, I got my trusty little plastic canvas. Sorry, my brain doesn't always think. And we're gonna attach it with our zip ties on the bottom side, like this. And I'm not gonna touch this yet because I painted it this morning. I was a little behind on that because I hadn't thought about it. And then like 2 minutes before I came online, I'm like freaking out. And Michael, come down here. You've got to find my floral picks. But anyway, let's see. And it feels pretty dry. This is a 4.5-inch disc. They come in a pack of 2 at Hobby Lobby, and it's green foam. And this is not what they call dry foam. I believe this is what they call wet foam. You might want to try dry foam. Usually, people who work with live flowers work with this because they do absorb water. Dry foam's just hard for me to use because without any help around here, I have trouble pushing it in because it's very difficult. So everything I do, I usually try to use the wet foam. I haven't really had any problems, but that doesn't mean it won't. And you kind of pretty basically seal it with the paint I used to paint this. What I did is I covered it one time in this orange quick drying. Anyway, I get this at Walmart. So I put a coat of this on it and I let it dry. Well, I thought I let it dry completely, and then I realized not all the spots were dry on the sides. So I have a wet cloth around here. If you see it hanging out, I don't know what I did with it. So I've been like wiping orange off everything. But then I took what I used. This is the same stuff I used on the wood crown on the KC Royal wreath. And it's just glitter gold. It doesn't have a lot of color, but it does have that gold fleck in it. I don't know if you can see the gold. I painted that on top, and I don't know if you can see, because I did not put extra glitter on the outside. However, you know, hi Brenda. Knowing my glitter excitement, when I put the glitter gold paint on the top, it wasn't glittery enough for me. So I did sprinkle extra glitter on it, and I kept knocking it off. And then Michael would put it back on. I'm like, no, but anyway, so we fought a little bit over the glitter, but this is how it came out. Sorry, I get backwards because this camera's really. And that's what we're going to use for our centerpiece on top of the plastic canvas. And what I'm going to do is, I think that's dry enough. I'm going to remove that. Oh, I found my washcloth. I'm going to remove that, or we'll end up having glitter everywhere, which isn't unusual. I just tell people I'm a fairy godmother and go on. But anyway, I'll set these aside. And this is the glitter. I just bought this tube of glitter. I think I got it at Walmart. It has a screw on top. And I just try to sprinkle it lightly on there. But anyway, so to get started, this is what I use. I bought these, I think I got these at Home Depot. It could have been at Lowe's, but I think these came from Home Depot. And they're just 4-inch cable ties. I like to use the smaller ones. I don't have any larger ones right now, but I need to get some. Because you can hook 2 of these together. But if you need a longer one. So we're going to hope that these are long enough with my hands and this short deco. I'm just going to put a few of them out here. Because that's what I'm going to, that's what I'm going to use on my petals, actually. I'm going to use the zip, I like to use the zip tie on the petals. Some of you can also use pipe cleaners. And now, before I forget, I'm going to move you. Did you like my new shirt? This is my WrestleMania Ultimate Warrior t-shirt. He used to say, he was one of my favorites and would still be if he was still living. And, okay, we're going to hope that works. And so I got this before I went into surgery because his saying was always believe. And I needed a lot of belief last week. Or this week. I still use my handy dandy tools. I got these, actually I think came in a set together at Walmart. Can't remember, there were 4 items. And these are the wire snippers. And luckily these came with it. And I just call them my gripper things. But the first thing you want to do on this is just, now this circle is a little larger, I believe, than the bottom ring. You want to make sure you get that in there. Forgive me, I'm a little slow at this. Sometimes I fight with zip ties also. I do that because I don't have enough grip in my hands to hold it. And there are cable tie tools. And I actually bought one. I bought one at Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight is great for cheap tools. And that's a good thing because I broke it like immediately because I didn't know what I was doing or how to use it. And the other thing is it didn't come with any instructions. But I think I figured it out after I broke it. And so the next time I get over to Manawa, that's where they have a Harbor Tools close, or Harbor Freight. So the next time I go over to Harbor Freight, I think I'll go by and get me a new one. Of course, that usually means it might find some tool he can't live without. And since all of his tools are in storage, I'm pretty sure when we get them all out, we're going to have double of everything we own. Trying to hold back on that. But sometimes you just can't help it. You gotta keep them happy. And because I want him to, I've got another project for him. I haven't done any craft shows yet. There was one, well, there will be one. So what's today? Today's the 15th. I guess Wednesday, I think it is. Yeah. There was one down at Bertha Barber School. But I didn't think I'd have the inventory, nor would I be ready. We, right now, don't really have any racks to hang them on, to show them on. And so, I'm going to, I like to cover those scissors. Hold on a second here. I like to keep my scissors for my ribbon and my mesh, the discards I got, because I like to keep them sharp. I'm going to trim this down just a little bit because it's just a little bit too long for me to get the tie. But anyway, I want Michael to make me a rack so we can put it like either on the table or by the table to hang the wreaths on, to show them, just display them. And I saw one because I've been looking at metal racks and thinking, geez, if I could have got to Boardman's when they sold out their stuff, maybe I could have grabbed a bargain. I really, you know, and I look down at Habitat Home Store every time I go because maybe they'll have something. They get some really odd and peculiar things. And in fact, I even pick up decorations down there. Picked up a set of angel wreaths, small angel wreaths. lattice wreath. So I'm like, but I saw today a lady posted that I communicate with in the crafts groups, and her husband had made her some really nice display racks that are like 2x4, 4 feet, and then 2 feet, and you connect it with hinges, but they're made out of lattice. So an 8-foot piece of lattice makes you 2 of them. And you could either set them on the floor or you could set them on your table, depending on what kind of. I know the one at, I think it was the Lead Center. Okay, and when I did this, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it seems to be real sturdy. And then you want to snip them all off. So, but anyway, I was thinking those would fold down and fit in the back of my truck. They would be lighter weight, and I think they would be okay to use. So we do a lot of things with lattice around here. We block children from falling through the staircase. We keep dogs from falling through the staircase. We put it on the bottom so nobody climbs under our deck. Anyway, so here's our ring to start. And I went through and I counted, and there are 20 individual holes. And we're going to see how this works. Because sometimes with the petal wreath, your problem is because you use a zip tie and you close it at the bottom in a petal fashion, the ring shows, and I don't like that. But we'll see how this goes. So what I did is I have 2 different forms. I believe they called it deco mesh ribbon because it's either, I guess I could see. Okay, this is actually 5.5 inches. I was thinking 6. But the mesh from Dollar Tree is, I believe, 6 inches. But this is 5.5. And I cut them because on this one we're doing a single petal. I cut these in, I did this a while ago, 6-inch pieces. But there's 2 colors. There's I don't know if you can tell. It's kind of hard to tell. This is a lighter orange type. And then, now maybe this one. This is, you can tell by the bottom. It's kind of got a yellowy bottom, and this one's got the orange bottom. So I had a roll of each of those. So I decided, well, we'll alternate them. And I counted all the little holes, and there's 20 no matter where you go. 20, 20, 20, 20. And then you're going to put a few here in the middle. So I cut 80 pieces because 1, 2, 3, we can do 3 and then 1 here, because once you get this placed in the middle, we may only have to do 1 row, and then we might have to come up with something inventive to figure it out, but we'll go from there. You just kind of do as you go, right? But I'm not going to put that center on until we get ready to work with the middle. I will say this, if you don't want to use the zip ties. Hi, Mary, how are you? You feeling good today? I sure hope so. But if you don't want to use the zip ties, and you can use the longer ones, I just prefer this 4-inch size. You can use Chanel stems. My problem is with my hand grip, even though it's better and my hands are warm now, I still have the carpal tunnel. What do they call it? Chronic carpal tunnel, because I've had them both operated on. So I don't get a good enough, I don't feel I get it tight enough. That's the same thing that happens when I make my pro bows. I don't feel like the wire's tight enough. So I just myself prefer to use the little zip ties. Now this mesh that we're going to use, I did get this at Hobby Lobby. This is not Dollar Tree mesh. Good, Mary. I'm glad to hear that. I hate it when people say too, so I'm really sorry. The thing is, the Dollar Tree mesh is a little thinner. This is really stiff. I usually throw everything by my right leg. I don't like fray. I don't like a lot of things, come to think of it. Anyway, on a normal 10-inch petal, you sort of just kind of pull it, and then you're going to fold it in and fold it in, and then you're going to get irritated that there's this one string that just goes, hello, I'm here. And you can always do your trimming after. Anyway, what I do different, I don't know, my petals were not forming with garbage. They look terrible. So what I do is I kind of decide which side I like the best. And these are going to be hard because they're little petals. So anyway, I fold these down here. See, I should have tried this before I did some, at an angle. And you're only going to get about one fold on these because, of course, they're small. And you can shape them or whatever. And then I'm going to start on the outside loop. And I do kind of pull it off of my table a little bit because it's just easier for me. You want to make sure that this side is facing up, not your back side. And all we're going to do is we're going to put it through here. And these rings are a little different, like I said, because one, they have all the little bars and everything in it. So that's why I'm wondering if it's going to cover around fully. But we're going to do that. I took it, went in behind, pulled down the tail. I want these to be longer since it's if it was a 10-inch, I could pull it down as much as I wanted, but I think I just want to give it a very small tail. Sometimes my tails get so long I have to go back and trim them. And after you get it over, I don't know if you can, this way. No, this way. Once you get it folded over there, and I'm going to just center it over this knob. You guys, if you use a different ring, wouldn't have that. You want to make sure your flat side connects towards you. What I do is I attach that until I hear a couple little crips or pops, and then I just take my tool and I want to make sure it's on the bottom side, and I just pull. Sometimes you have to assist with the other hand a little bit, or it won't work for you at all. There we go. I'm just going to take it up there, and I'm just going to do it like that. And then you can just you can play with the mesh. That's the fun part. So it doesn't have to be exactly how you put it on or see it. Because people have asked me before, well, how's your fold different? Mine never looks like that. I go, I just play with it until I like it. Then I'm going to take my next, Another good thing, you don't have to do this. You can wait until you're done and clip them all at one time. But I just shoot mine up in the air and let them go, and we'll find them later, I guess. Sometimes I hold them down like this, and I'll do 2 or 3 at a time or more. Take my next piece, and I'm alternating colors here. I'm trying to anyway. Like I said, it's been a long time since I actually had this one cut up a couple weeks ago. Before I think I actually had them cut. I've been making myself project boxes. And I get an idea, and I see what I have. And if I have everything I think I need, I'll go ahead and I will get out all of my supplies to cut, and I may cut 3 or 4 wreaths at a time. I don't just cut them when I do. I try to make sure I have it. And then I've gotten smarter and I write down how I did it, because somebody's going to ask me and I'm not going to know. So now I have a little spot in my notebook for wreath recipes. Figured if they have bow recipes, I could have wreath recipes. And then I have this one cut, I have the double petal cut, I have a poly burlap red, white, and blue one cut, and I've pretty much caught up on all my I do have a very small 7-inch that I was going to put succulents on. That's another new thing I'm going to do. And like I said, I don't fold these. Some people just fold them in half. I just kind of, to get them to make my petal shape, I just kind of fold them kind of crooked. Diagonal. I knew the word wasn't crooked. Sometimes words just come out. And, try to make them basically around the same length. I'm not real good with that. Nothing is a direct, a totally precise science, which sounds funny because on a lot of things I get a little OCD. Like, I don't know if y'all saw my plea for help the other day. When I was in the hospital, I don't know, I took my computer, but I didn't use it because it was way too much for my little brain at that moment on all its little inhibitors to hook up the Wi-Fi. So I just said, this isn't worth it, put it back in the suitcase, and I got my iPad. Well, the iPad works, as you know, a little different than the laptop. I wasn't even using a laptop prior to starting doing this business because I just didn't want to deal with it. And then I'm like, I kind of sort of have to do spreadsheets, and you can do them on the iPad, but being that I'm a work in technology, if I wanted to, I prefer to use a regular machine for things like that. I don't like to tax my brain learning new things. But anyway, one message was from, I think it was the first, it might have been, one message was on the 12th, and I had looked at, Trendy Tree was doing a live on making a wreath, so I was watching it because I had nothing else to do. And then another gal had posted these beautiful flowers she had arranged, and for some reason, from the time we got home on, I was getting 60 messages or notifications a day, but nobody was posting on them, so I don't know what I did. Mary, this is I got this at Christmas time through the Dollar Tree. It came with garland on it. And what I did is I bought, depending on what color garland you buy, is what color frame you get. This was a gold. They had red, and they had green. And that might have been the only ones. But I couldn't get regular frames back then, and I was just starting. So I bought a whole bunch of these garland ones. I took the garland off and used the frames. I have 2 of them left. And that's why I'm making these 2 small petals on, because I don't normally buy less than a 14-inch wreath. And this measures 11, but you could use like the 10-inch wreath frame. But yeah, anyway, so I kept getting like 60 of these a day, and they were driving me crazy, because it drives me crazy for my Facebook or stuff to have the little notifications on it. It's one of my, I don't know, quirks. I call it my OCD, but I don't know that I really have OCD. But, so it just drives me insane. So I finally said, what have I done? What do I need to do? I thought maybe it was them. I don't know. And somebody told me, well, go turn off the notifications, because I guess you can go to each post and turn off the notifications. Well, I went on to the notifications, and I'd done that before, and the notifications weren't turned on. So these are like the ones you can get, Mary, at Craft Outlet, the plastic ones that they say they work with the foam too. But yeah, I couldn't find wire forms back then, and I was trying to do as cheap as possible, so I just bought a bunch of garland ones. And I put the garland on my son's Christmas tree. I'm sure Sean appreciated that, but whatever. And like I said, this may not turn out full enough. We may not like the look of it, because this is the first one I've ever done. But you could even try this with your 10-inch mesh instead of using the 6. But I thought, hey, it's a shot, right? We'll try it. We'll see how it works. But anyway, so I went in and I actually turn the notifications on for them, and then immediately turn it back off, and it seems to have solved the problem. And I will take the blame for it, because I was in my drug-enhanced state. So I'll just say I did it. I don't know who did it, I don't know what I did, but I got them to stop, thank God. Because and then when they come like 10 or 15 at a time. And it just would be like blip, 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 blip. And one time I had to turn the computer completely off. That's how disgusted I was getting. So, but I think I've gotten them to stop. So I'm gonna kind of maybe put the tail in there. See if we can poop them out a little bit. I mean, it's not looking bad, but it's not. And of course, we are going to do more rows, so that helps fill out your wreath. So anyway, I don't know if we'll get this one all done. You know, I don't like to go too long, and I don't know if I'll last too long. I don't know what it is when they give you anesthesia. I tell you what, maybe we'll try. I'm going to try pulling these up just a little farther, maybe not in the exact middle. I don't know what it is, but the older you get, when they give you anesthesia, you just don't bounce back from it quite as fast as you used to when you were younger. And since I had to go back in for emergency surgery immediately, it's like I came out of anesthesia and they put me right back under. And I swear they said they had to intubate me twice, which I don't get. Because I would think once you were intubated, you'd stay intubated until you were done. And I know they didn't intubate me, I don't think, for the first one, but they might have. So, or maybe they just intubate you to get you back to where you need to be oxygen-wise, and then they turn it off. I don't know. I'm going to, and of course, being on medication the whole time we were in the hospital, I told them to write everything down. But, yeah, that's how, you know, because I still have some questions on what happened during the first procedure. Actually, the first procedure went fine. The doctor even, you know, how the doctor kind of talks to you when you're kind of there. And he said, oh, yeah, it's working great. Everything looks good. And then so when the vein doctor came in to see me at a follow-up in the hospital, and she said, well, and she said I wasn't really anesthetized because I was joking with her. Now, that could have been the first time, because when we started, her name's Dr. Brown, which makes me giggle because that was my maiden name. So the first time, she opened the incision because they go through your arterial vein down, or aortic vein, whatever vein it's called, the big vein. And 5 years ago, I had a FemPop, and so they had grafted that particular vein. So she opened, they went right through the graft. So she had opened the graft. And then, but she did not close it. The cardiology department or section or whoever they were, my cardiology doctor, Dr. Agrawal, his team closed it. And I say that because, you know, watching Medical Center and Scrubs and what was it, ER, but mostly Medical Center for me. I didn't really watch the other ones. You know, the main doctor does all the good work, but he's not the one that finishes it off and closes it. One of his little people does. So I'm going to say, and they have because of it's a university learning hospital, they have a lot of fellows, which I didn't really understand. I've heard of interns, I've heard of externs. I don't really know what a fellow is. But they closed it. Well, what happened, because I got upset, because one thing I'm scared of in this entire world is a blood clot. I've seen way too many people go way too early. Well, I guess it really wasn't really early. I've seen people go and pass away right in front of me, in fact, from blood clots. Of course, that was back in the day when we didn't know as much about stuff as we do now and so forth. Because my maternal grandmother passed away. That's the one that passed away in front of us from a blood clot. I will always insist that my mother probably died of a blood clot. She'd had knee surgery 6 months prior, and she passed away in her sleep. Although most of the people I know that have passed away from blood clots, it's just like bing bang gone. So they must be ones that are more up in their heart, because they never exhibited pain. Because my mother, they said when they found her, just was as peaceful as could be, and didn't look like she'd moved a muscle. And then my uncle was sitting in his chair, or her brother was sitting in his chair, and he had a lot of vein issues, and he just, that was it. But none of them had like major pain like I had. But then on the other hand, then I found out I didn't have a blood, well, I had a blood clot, but it wasn't when the situation happened. So what happened apparently is they closed that incision and that vein or graft up, and everything seemed to be fine. I don't even remember going upstairs, and I just remember the next thing I remember is I was upstairs and I couldn't feel my foot or my leg, and my thigh had the worst pain in the world. I've never felt pain like that. I've had a lot of pain, and all I wanted to do was somebody just put me out. I couldn't take it, and I've never backed off from pain, really. And come to find out, when the vein doctor came in and spoke to us in the hospital, what had happened was when they closed the incision, they had folded the graft, the vein graft, and actually sewn it shut. So I really didn't have a, what do they call them, a thrombosis? What I actually had was no blood flow to that leg whatsoever. They had cut off all of the blood flow to the leg. And then, of course, right where the blood was cut off, when the blood got there, then it started making a blood clot. I guess body's natural defense. So they did a thromboidectomy. They removed the blood clot. And then she fixed the graft. And then I guess, my leg got nice flow, and so then life was good. Because I'm going to tell you what, I watched that foot turning black and I was freaking out. So I felt better because, like I said, and the thing is, I have to laugh because it's like, oh, okay, your family has a history of blood clots. Yes, but they aren't my biological family. I'm an adopted child. So I don't have any medical history. But yeah, basically. So I don't know. It's rather odd. All I know is they fixed it. My foot became pretty colored. In fact, my husband, Michael, has been complimenting me on how pretty my feet look. Those feet look so pretty. I haven't seen those feet look like that in a long time. So apparently, yes, I have not had much blood flow. Well, they showed us on the pictures from when they put in the heart cap that I wasn't getting much blood flow to either my hands or my feet. So my feet are pretty. I just want everybody to know that. All right, Mary. I don't know if that's, it's kind of like the thing I put on I guess I put it on my own Facebook today. There was a saying that said something about if you're kidnapped, something. Well, my dad, and it was comforting when I was a child. And then as I got older, I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, maybe this isn't the compliment I thought it was. But it made me feel comforted. He always said, Cheryl, if someone takes you in the middle of the night, don't worry, they'll bring you back in the morning. Which gave me comfort because I thought, oh, goody, even if somebody would happen to try to do something, then I'm still safe and I'll be back home. Now that I think about it, maybe that wasn't a compliment. My dad. Oh, goodness sakes. He was hurt. I guess he wasn't too worried about it. He used to always joke too. He goes, "Yep, I've left a ladder under your window for years. And nobody's taken you yet." And thanks, Dad. Love you too. But that was just his way. I'll tell you what, anybody would have come and tried to take his little girl, they'd have had been having a big price to pay. This was my hero. It was his angel. Oh, the good old days. Sometimes I want them back, sometimes I'm glad they aren't. I don't even know if I knew what I know now when I went back, if it would be any better or not. Because I didn't really have a bad childhood. A little overprotected. It took me, I was kind of late for her, but when I bloomed, it went fast and hard. I mean, when I say, I don't know how many other people, but back in the day, because I would go home from college, and I still had an 11 o'clock curfew. I was 22 years old. I had an 11 o'clock curfew, and I met it. You know? Kids these days, they turn, well, in Nebraska, they turn 19, but anywhere else, they turn 18. They're like out the door going, you can't tell me what to do. And here I'm trying to race home after going out when I'm 22, thinking, I'm going to be late. And not even midnight, mind you, 11 p.m. Man, what do you do? But then I knew when I was at college I could do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, so it didn't matter. So this is taking a long time, huh, guys? What we might do is we might do this in a couple of different, I wasn't planning on that, but since I'm moving terribly slow and my arms are getting terribly tired, my hands. Because usually you figure you can pop a wreath out in an hour, hour and a half. But this one, I guess maybe because we're using zip ties, that's one reason. But this is how it's looking. I don't know. I'm hoping when we go to here, maybe we'll move the petals over more so it kind of alternates. But this is half of this row, so I know this, if we sat here all night, it's going to take 3 or 4 hours. And that's just wrong. I mean, yesterday I put together, of course I am talking, but yesterday I put together 2 wreaths. Well, I didn't completely finish them. I put together 2 bases. I think y'all saw the one I did with the snowball mesh. And I was just going to show you. A lot of people like ribbon, but I just thought that mesh was so pretty. It's not really worth putting ribbon on it and covering it up. But then I looked, this is what I have for ribbon that I was thinking about. Let's see if I can go there. And it's just kind of a pastel, and it's yellow edges, and it's wired. It's kind of a satin, and it's got butterflies. And so the wreath, of course, that I'm making, I was thinking butterflies or birds. And then I thought to myself, you know what I could do? And I'm not very good at this, but thank goodness Regina's Sellers made such a nice product. Thank you, thank you. I could get out my Pro Bow, and I could make a bow and put it on the top of that wreath, and maybe that would satisfy people who think they need ribbon. And then I could put, Mike said just butterflies, but I was thinking maybe a couple of birds. I don't know. He likes butterflies and birds, so I have a great collection of them. Mostly cardinals and the birds. I am the one that has to buy the different birds. He only wants the red cardinals. But, I don't know. But I was thinking maybe a bow. And a nice size bow, not a little bow, a bigger bow. And I thought, well, maybe that will help. You know how I know I'm getting tired? I start getting really hot. Crazy, huh? They gave me enough blood flow to bring back hot flashes. I'm not impressed with that. But what I can do is I could go ahead. Because, like I said, it's been almost an hour, and unfortunately, I'm pooping out. I'm just saying that. But anyway, what I could do is I could go ahead and finish the bottom, and then start my next row, and do most of it, and then come back on live, and we could work on the rest till we get to the end. And then that way, I wouldn't be here boring you while I'm trying to put all these petals on, because it does, with the petals, it does take it a little longer. But this is what I have to do this. I'm sorry. Can you see me? This is what it looks like at this moment. And this is exactly what I did on the outer ring, the 18-inch ring of Big Flower. The only difference is I was using 10-inch mesh and 10-inch pieces, so 10 by 10 instead of 6 by 6. And when you make a 10 by 10-inch one, they are huge. And this one, well, since we've done it halfway, this is on an 11-inch ring, but tip to tip, flowers, tip to tip, it's going to be 24 big. When we're done, it'll be 24 around. So that makes a good sized wreath, even though you're using a smaller form. Now the other one like this that I have cut, that at some point we'll do, is actually, I'm going to do a double petal style, and I will use pipe cleaners, I believe, on that one. And it'll come out, it'll probably come out somewhat smaller because of how I'm putting them on. I'll have to think about it, because these petals are basically, well, they come out about 6, 7. But those petals, if you did double petals, you'd be folding them in half. And so I'm thinking 3 inches, which would be only this long. But there would be 2 of them. So it would be a really shorter flower for someone. Sometimes it's nice to have a smaller wreath. I've made several of them, and people use them in like assisted cares and nursing home situations. So, because they don't take up a lot of room, and they're kind of, and that, another thing is, that's why, if you can see them in the background, the one on the wall, hello. Okay. The dog wanted to come back. The one on the wall, or on the door, is 18 inches, I believe. And the other little ones that you see are 12 inches. I get those at Dollar Tree. And to me, the 12-inch one makes a wonderful, small grapevine. And I think they look very pretty. And I am one to believe that if you're going to use a grapevine, you should show part of the grapevine, not cover the grapevine up totally. And I made these, and so because they're smaller and they would be a little bit cheaper price. Lamba. Sorry, Lamba's got excited. But they're a little cheaper price. And I thought if younger people or people who didn't have enough money or much money wanted to give someone something for Mother's Day, those would be, nice presents. The blue one doesn't have a sign. The red one has a sign that says "Love you to the moon and back." I had 2 of those, and I had, so I have 2 with signs and 3 without signs, and I'm selling them for anywhere between $15 and $22. So I just thought those would make nice additions for a mom, a grandma, or someone else that doesn't have a lot of space. But yeah, so as I tell Michael, I think I've run out of my period of usefulness. Little at a time. So what I'll do is I will actually just put this back down. I've got my little project box over there. It's gotten kicked away from the table. But I'll put it back in my project box. Trust me, I have tons of other things I can work on. Like I said, I have a poly burlap. I'm trying to do a flower with it out of 10-inch poly burlap. And it's the first time I've worked with that material. Because if you cut burlap, it can be very hazardous to your health. If you're doing a pull-through method or something, you don't have to worry as much. But if you cut and work with burlap, you have to wear a mask because the fibers can cause pulmonary fibrosis, which is a lung disease. And I don't want to deal with that. I got enough going on. So I use poly burlap. And it's a little harder to work with. It kind of works your muscles a little bit because it's even stiffer than this deco. But I'm kind of trying to expand my horizons some, do a few different things. So what do we got? I've done a centerpiece now, and it's very versatile. It can actually hang as a wreath. The way I have it packaged is it's red, white, and blue ruffles, and then the ribbons. So you can hang it like that, plain, set it down plain. But I've also included different 4th of July decorations, and you just stick them down in. So you can put it on your table and use it, say, from Memorial Day to about mid-June. Then you can put your firecrackers and decorations in and use it through the 4th of July to mid-July, and then take them out and use it then again until your Labor Day, and you could even use it for Veterans Day. And that's why I kind of liked it, because I made the decorations removable. I'm waiting for, I've got Sean's base wreath. I did that one yesterday and it has 2 ribbons on each tie. And it was 20-inch mesh that I ruffled. But I have a Uncle Sam's top hat coming in, and that's in my craft outlet. Yeah, my craft outlet. So, but I'm going to put this away for tonight. I will finish the bottom ring. I will start the next ring, and that way I won't have to make you watch every single time I put a leaf on. A lot of people do that. They pre-start them and stuff. I just never know where to pre-start and not to pre-start, so I'm learning. But anyway, everybody have a fantastic evening. Thank you all so much for joining me. It's great to be back online. I know it won't be tomorrow because I have doctor's appointments and I have to go by Hobby Lobby I have a custom order and I need burlap. And I have another custom order and I need some different flowers. So, and I'll probably be worn out after that. But also tomorrow night is a Bruins hockey game. The Bruins they are in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So anytime there's a Bruins game, we have to have it on down here. So I know it won't be tomorrow night, but maybe Tuesday. I'll look at my schedule. Now, Tuesday I do have another doctor's appointment, but that shouldn't be any. I just have to go see. They said I had to go see my primary doctor, so I think it's just a privilege to play at the co-play. I'm not sure. Please stop, Lamba. I will be there in a minute. She wants to go out. So I know it won't be Monday, but maybe Tuesday I can find a time to come on. It would probably be a little later than this. Melinda gets home anywhere between 6 and 6:30 unless she's going to her second job. So I would probably be closer to 6 or 6:30 before I would come on because Ryder doesn't go down for his nap till 4 and he usually gets up at 6. So, well, I guess it's not a big deal because Mike can go up, he likes to go upstairs. He doesn't ever want to be in the picture. So, but anyway, I will say goodbye for now. Thank you all for joining me. Good to see you, and I hope to see you in a couple of days. And we'll get this finished. Bye bye, everybody. Have a fantastic evening. Bye bye.